most recent generation of consoles has been an interesting one to say the least. Initially marred with availability issues, and most would say that both the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 haven't had that many big hits, but that doesn't mean that there isn't plenty to look forward to. More often than not, video game rumours are proven to just be rumours. Nevertheless, it's hard not to get excited about what the future might bring. And although it's wise to take gossip with an ocean's amount of salt, some rumblings around the PS5 and Xbox Series X are looking less like uncorroborated conjecture and more like an inevitability. I'm Si for WhatCulture.com, and these are the 8 biggest PS5 and Xbox rumours that must come true. Number 8. More Assassin's Creed projects. Assassin's Creed veterans are in for a treat over the next year. The next official instalment, Assassin's Creed Mirage, will be returning to the series' roots, since it will focus more on stealth and a linear narrative rather than blood-spurting violence. As great as this news is, it's only the tip of the iceberg. Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec will soon be introducing not just a new game, but a new system called Assassin's Creed Infinity, which promises a whole new way of playing the time-weaving, cathedral climbing, parkour leaping saga. Executive producer Mark Alexis Cotta emphasised Infinity marks a new design philosophy, letting players share achievements and content backed up in an interactive hub. 2 games that will make use of Infinity are Assassin's Creed Red and Assassin's Creed Hex. Although it's been confirmed Red is a samurai-based title set in feudal Japan, details are sketchy on the latter. However, Bloomberg reported Hex takes place in 16th century Europe during the witch trials, which led up to 60,000 people burned at the stake. If this report is true, Hex is sure to take the franchise in a much darker direction than normal. Although Infinity, Red and Hex shouldn't be released until 2024, they should all be 100% worth the wait. Number 7. Red Dead Redemption Remaster. Since its debut, Red Dead Redemption has received universal praise for its cinematic set pieces, powerful narrative, and flawless world building. But being a title that is now over 13 years old, cracks are starting to show. As such, fans have been praying for a Red Dead remaster. Now, apparently, a revision of the Wild West action-adventure title was on the cards at one point. Sadly, the developers seemingly put an end to it to focus more on Grand Theft Auto 6. And considering the massive success of GTA 5 and the massive failure of the definitive edition, you can't really blame them for wanting to get this one right. However, we may have jumped the 6-shooter, since there are hints the original Red Dead Redemption is being reworked. As has been mentioned by Gamatsu, the Game Rating and Administrative Committee of Korea published a new age rating for the game in June 2023. This occurred several months after Sony removed RDR from PlayStation Now. This decision suggests the original was taken off the cloud subscription so that it can be replaced with a more polished version or a full-blown remake. Whether it's true or not, Red Dead Redemption Redux would certainly be at the top of many gamers' wish lists. Number 6. Dragon Age Dreadwolf. After the success of Dragon Age Inquisition, BioWare got to work on the follow-up Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Cut to nearly a decade later and there's still no sign of it. Dreadwolf has been stalled, put on hold, cancelled and restarted with a new staff. Because the game has little resemblance to how it started, details are incredibly scarce. But the drip feedings we have caught imply the Dragon Age sequel will be a massive departure in the franchise in terms of gameplay. Unlike previous entries, Dreadwolf is rumoured to be the first in the series to rely on real-time action combat similar to God of War. Based on the incredibly brief trailer, Dreadwolf is going against the grind by being a direct sequel rather than a self-contained story. The promos also indicate Elven Mage Solus, who was the player's party member in the previous entry, will serve as the overarching antagonist. There may be no release date in sight even after 9 flipping years, but Dragon Age Dreadwolf is shaping up to be very promising indeed. Number 5. Dead Rising Reboot. Although Dead Rising 5 was intended for release for the PS4 and Xbox One, the project dissolved in 2018 after Capcom Vancouver folded. To the dismay of undead bashing enthusiasts, there is no official report that Capcom intend to continue the adored saga. But there have been whispers. In May, Jez Corlin of Windows Central tweeted, "If you're a Dead Rising fan, there might be something on the horizon for you too." Rather than churning out another sequel, it's been suggested that Capcom is planning a Dead Rising reboot. Since Jez's prediction on the MGS3 Snake Eater remake was bang on the money, this rumour sounds viable. From a business standpoint, it would be crazy if Capcom didn't bring the zombie smashing franchise back from the dead. Dead Rising has sold 15 million units, making it the company's 6th most lucrative property. Since the Resident Evil remakes have raked in a monstrous profit for Capcom, resurrecting Dead Rising would be a wise move. Watching bumbling photojournalist turned zombie killer Frank West kicking some serious flesh-eating ass on a next-gen console wouldn't just be welcome, but an absolute dream for fans. Number 4, AAA Castlevania. After the success of Netflix's Castlevania animated series, the fandom for Konami's vampire hunting franchise was at an all-time high. And yet there hasn't been a new video game installment in nearly a decade. Sure, Castlevania has recently crossed over with other titles and the classic games have been re-released a lot, but it's not enough. The Belmonts and Dracula deserve a proper comeback. And based on recent developments, a AAA Castlevania is a strong possibility. After Konami producer Taniguchi saw how well received the Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC was, he told IGN it was a motivating factor to push forward with the Gothic saga. And due to an apparent new deal with Sony, PlayStation may have secured exclusive rights to several IPs, including Castlevania. Little else is known about this promising title, save for the fact it's meant to be a total revamp, no pun intended. And how plausible is this rumour? Well, when the Sony-Konami deal was finalised, anonymous sources informed VGC that it would lead to a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, and 1 month later the threequel was officially greenlit. The same source also stated the original MGS games would be remastered, which also turned out to be true. After assessing the facts, it's looking more and more likely that gamers will be venturing back to Transylvania very soon. Number 3, Project 007. Even though James Bond has been a staple in cinema since the 1960s, he's been absent from the gaming front for a decade. And that's why it's refreshing to hear IO Interactive's first non-Hitman game in 15 years will be Project 007, which centres around everyone's favourite martini-glugging 00 agent. Project 007 aims to deliver an original Bond story set in modern times, unaffiliated with Ian Fleming's novels. To ensure it's disconnected from the films, the titular spy won't share a likeness to any actor who's portrayed him. Although details are few and far between, we can expect an espionage adventure filled with dangerous stunts, shootouts and luscious locations. Since IO had to double their staff for the game, Project 007 is sure to be massive in scale. Because little has been revealed over the last 3 years, it hasn't filled Bond lovers with much confidence. However, the long production is merely a sign the developers aren't rushing anything. IO studio director Hakan Abrak spent 2 years with the license holders to make sure they're on the same page so his team could do justice to the beloved property. And if IO Interactive pull it off, they hope Project 007 will lead to a trilogy. Number 2, Naughty Dog's medieval IP. Due to Naughty Dog's work on Crash Bandicoot, Uncharted and The Last of Us, fans wait with bated breath anytime there's buzz surrounding the company's next project. And ever since one of their concept artists, Hyung Nam, released imagery of medieval warriors, gamers have suspected Naughty Dog is working on a brand new IP set during the Middle Ages. Now, these rumours were seemingly debunked soon after, with Nam claiming he created the picture after he was inspired by Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Some people called bull, believing the company preemptively let the cat out of the bag. Although claims like these sound like wishful thinking, there could be something to it. Co-president Neil Druckmann has repeatedly tweeted details about hiring fresh talent for 3 new projects. All signs pointed to 2 of these being the already released Last of Us remake and the upcoming Last of Us Factions, if it ever comes out. And since no details have been offered about the 3rd project, this rumour can't be dispelled just yet. Even if this medieval IP doesn't materialise, we know for a fact Naughty Dog is working on something that's very hush-hush. And number 1, new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X were released 3 years after their predecessors. Since the PS5 and the Xbox Series X have crossed the 2.5-year mark, Sony and Microsoft could be putting the final touches on their upgraded counterparts at this very moment. And according to TCL Technology, these consoles are right around the corner. In 2022, the Chinese tech giant made a presentation indicating an updated PS5 and Xbox Series X will be available in 2023 or 2024. According to this showcase, the Generation 9.5 systems will feature native 8K support, an amplified GPU, and the resolution will be boosted from 1440p to 2160p. Because Sony have been heavily pushing TVs that perfectly fit with these specs, this claim sounds plausible. Since these details haven't been officially corroborated by Sony or Microsoft, this showcase may be a forecast rather than a declaration of what's to come. Nevertheless, this rumour won't be going away. According to Inside Gaming owner Tom Henderson, another report suggests the PS5 Pro will be released in September September 2023 and will contain a separate external disk drive. With Microsoft and Sony ever eager to push tech to the breaking point, let's hope both companies show off their new toys in the foreseeable future. And whilst you wait for these rumours to hopefully come true, why not go back and scoop up some of your missing PlayStation trophies? Except these ones. On screen now are 10 impossible PlayStation trophies that cost you 100%. Make sure you leave a comment down below on video game rumours that you'd like to come true this year. Like this video, subscribe, head over to WhatCulture.com for more content every day. I've been Si for WhatCulture, and have a good week.